They said it was going to be a private celebration. Just family. Intimate. Special. So imagine how it felt when I showed up wearing the suit I picked up from the tailor that morning, only to be stopped at the entrance of the very country club I helped secure the liquor license for. The same venue where I had personally coordinated events for 3 Fortune 500 companies last year. The guard at the gate squinted at his list. Name: Ash Whitman. He looked again. Sorry, sir, not on here. I chuckled, half expecting a mistake. Try under Lemaire. That's my mother-in-law's last name. He scanned again. Yes, here at Island, Lemaire. But it says 6 guests only. You're not listed. Still trying to be polite, I replied. I'm married to Delaney. She's inside. He hesitated, then clicked his earpiece. I've got someone here claiming to be related to a guest. Says he's the husband. Claiming to be related. That stung more than I expected. Seconds later, the doors opened and there she was. Celeste Lemaire. Blonde bob pearls that weren't just for show, and that ever-practiced smile of entitlement. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. She strutted out like a senator's wife in a scandal. Ash, she said sweetly, what a surprise. Surprise to me too. Thought I was expected. Celeste looked me up and down. You weren't on the list. I organized the wine sponsorship for this event. I know. And we appreciate it, she said. Her voice dipped in syrup. But tonight is not your crowd. I blinked. I'm part of this family. She tilted her head, all pity and poison. By paperwork, not by pedigree. That sentence, it felt like glass in the chest. And I hadn't even gotten to the worst part yet. Behind her, I saw them. Delaney, my wife, sitting at a candlelit table with her 2 sisters, their husbands, her father laughing, drinking, passing oysters like it was any other fancy night out. She saw me. I know she saw me. She looked away. That's when it hit me. They hadn't forgotten me. They'd excluded me. On purpose. For a party I helped plan. In a venue I had direct ties to. Sponsored by a wine brand whose distribution rights I helped negotiate. And still they left me out like I was some stranger who wandered in from the parking lot. Celeste must have sensed the shift in my expression. Ash, she said in a lower tone, you don't want to make a scene. There's a sports bar 2 miles down. I'm sure they'll have something more your speed. And just like that, there it was. The mask off. The malice real. And here's the kicker. I paid for part of this event. Not symbolically, not emotionally, financially. Through a limited investment arm they didn't even know I had shares in. One of my holding companies was a silent backer. They thought I was just the event guy, the +1 with nice manners, the husband who got lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. I forced a smile. Actually, could you let the maitre d' know Ash Whitman is here? Tell him I'd like a word with Caden Leung. Celeste's eyes narrowed. Caden, you know Caden. I nodded. Executive director of the club. We've worked together for a decade. Celeste scoffed, trying to play it cool. This is ridiculous. But it wasn't. Because the next moment, Caden walked out himself. Tall, sharp suit, clipboard in hand. And the second he saw me, his entire face lit up. Ash, he said, striding over. Didn't know you were coming tonight. Didn't think I'd need to announce myself. Celeste's jaw twitched. Caden turned toward her. Everything okay here? Celeste blinked. We have a private event. Just family. Mrs. Lemaire, he interrupted gently. Ash has a lifetime membership here. And he's also on the advisory board for our expansion project. Her face cracked. You're on the board. I've always been, I replied calmly. Right this way, Mr. Whitman, Caden said, holding the door open like it was Buckingham Palace. As we walked in, Celeste hissed behind me, this isn't over. I didn't even look back. Because it was already too late. They had underestimated me for years. But tonight, they'd gone one step too far. They tried to erase me publicly. And now I wasn't angry. I wasn't embarrassed. I was awake. And I had receipts. Have you ever been humiliated by someone who thought you didn't matter? Tell me below, because in this story, they thought I'd walk away quietly. What actually happened went viral across 3 states and made headlines by morning. Stick around. It's just getting started. What they didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything. Every dollar, every favor, every lie they told. And after tonight, I wouldn't be holding back anymore. You would think after something like that being ambushed at the gates of your own generosity, their shame would settle in. That maybe someone would call. That Delaney, my wife, would send even a short text. Hey, that wasn't okay. I'm sorry. But no, not that night. Not the day after. Not even a week later. The silence was louder than any insult Celeste could throw. And that's when I realized this wasn't a one-time humiliation. It was part of a larger pattern I had ignored for far too long. It started small years back. At first, I was included in everything, but only as long as I provided something. A reservation, a discount, a connection. I helped organize their ski trip to Vail. I booked the hotel block for her sister's engagement party at that boutique retreat in Santa Barbara. I even negotiated a lower rate for her father's gallbladder surgery recovery suite. I never asked for thanks. I liked being useful. But over time, the invitations became a functional. They needed my skills, not my presence. The first time I noticed, it was Delaney's cousin's baby shower. I had helped decorate the hall design, the invites even picked the menu handcrafted farm to tabletop us. I arrived 10 minutes early, expecting to help finish setup. Delaney's aunt looked at me like I'd shown up to the wrong funeral. "Oh, we thought you were just dropping off the signage." I ended up watching the whole event from the hotel bar down the hall. One drink, then another. That night, Delaney said, "You look tired, so I didn't want to pull you into things." She always had an excuse. Always just enough doubt to make me question myself. But the truth was simpler. They wanted what I brought, not who I was. Then came the leaks. Group chats, ones I wasn't in, started slipping into my inbox from mutuals. People who thought I deserved to know what was being said behind my back. Here's one from Delaney's sister Cameron. "Ash is sweet, but you can tell he didn't grow up around this kind of class. His taste is so Airbnb chic." Another one from Celeste, forwarded by a florist I'd hired for a gala. "He plays entrepreneur, but doesn't own a single property in his name. My daughter deserves a legacy, not a landlord." I wanted to believe Delaney didn't know, that she wasn't part of it. But her silence was its own signature. When her boutique opened Delara, I was the one who secured the retail lease in Soho. I built her a brand deck, connected her to the photographer who shot for Chanel, even arranged a meeting with an angel investor, then pulled out at the last minute so she could shine solo. We told people it was her dream, her hustle, her win. And I was proud of that. I wanted her to feel powerful. I wanted them all to finally see her as more than Celeste's daughter. But after the ribbon cutting, they took the story and ran with it. Magazine profiles came out. The heiress turned fashion visionary, from legacy to label. No mention of me. Not even a line. Delaney said the editors wanted a clean focus, that it was about the brand narrative. But even the official Instagram post for the launch cropped me out of the team photo. Literally. I saw the original. I was on the right edge, arm around her waist. The one they posted, just her, and a neatly airbrushed sunset. One night I confronted her. We were in the kitchen. I had just wrapped a call with a potential investor for my own hospitality tech startup, someone I'd mentored in his college years. Delaney was sipping wine, scrolling on her iPad. "Do you ever mention me when people ask how you started?" I asked, quiet. She looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean, do you ever say that I helped with the seed funding? The branding, the lease?" She blinked. "People don't ask that." "Right," I said. "Because they already assume you did it alone." She sipped again. "Well, I mean, it is my company." That wasn't a lie. But it also wasn't the truth. Over time, I became the logistics guy, the favor phone call, the man they turned to when things needed smoothing out. Never the one they thanked. Just the one who made it look effortless. There was even a point where Celeste introduced me to a friend at a fundraiser as Delaney's supportive partner. Not my name, not my career, not my record of managing 3 successful restaurant launches across the tri-state area. Just supportive partner. Like a Labrador. Then came the real betrayal. One afternoon, I stopped by the boutique unannounced. I had just wrapped a client meeting at a cafe nearby and wanted to surprise Delaney with lunch. The staff looked surprised to see me. "Oh, Delaney said you were out of town." I got back early. I handed over the food and waited in the lounge while they went to fetch her. But instead, I heard giggling from the back room. I wasn't meant to hear it. But I did. Cameron again laughing. "Girl, I don't know how you keep him around. My husband would never let me run a business on his dime." Delaney's voice quieter but clear. "Well, Ash doesn't think like that. He's useful." Useful. Like a wrench. Or a password. I walked out of the store before they saw me. Saturday in the car for 20 minutes before turning on the ignition. My hands didn't shake. My eyes didn't tear up. Just a dull clarity rising like fog. They didn't see me. They never had. And if they didn't see me when I gave them everything quietly, then maybe it was time they really saw me. Loudly. I wasn't planning to show up. Not really. After everything they had said, everything I'd overheard, I told myself I was done. I meant it too. At least I thought I did. But then the invitation arrived. Hand-delivered. A gold-foiled card with Lemaire Foundation Annual Gala embossed in cursive. Same venue as last year, same charity name. Except this time, it was dedicated to Celeste's birthday and a celebration of women-led legacy. Delaney's name was on the host list. Mine wasn't. No plus one. No Mr. and Mrs. just her. It wasn't an oversight, it was a message. So I decided to deliver one back. I didn't RSVP. Didn't ask permission. I showed up at the gala in a three-piece charcoal suit tailored in Florence, the one I'd only worn twice before, once for a private tasting event with Forbes editors, once for a silent art auction in Manhattan. The valet greeted me by name. The security didn't blink. Because I wasn't an outsider to this world. I helped build this world. And they were about to remember that. The ballroom sparkled with money. Crystals. Designer gowns. Ambient jazz so soft it made the million-dollar chatter feel like church. I scanned the room from the balcony. There she was, Delaney. Perfect posture. Sculpted waves in her hair, laughing beside her mother and the keynote speaker, some former ambassador with a wine brand. I walked down the marble stairs without fanfare. And that's when I heard it. Celeste's voice sharper than the violinist tuning nearby. You always know when someone doesn't belong, darling. They stand like they're waiting to be told what to do. Then silence. Then chuckles. Her eyes were on me the whole time. I approached the table, calm. I gave Delaney a nod. She didn't return it. Celeste turned, that fox smile creeping back in. Ash, she said, drawing out the esh like steam from a kettle. Brave of you to come. I assumed your invitation got lost. It did, I replied evenly. Just like your tact. That earned a few nervous glances. Someone across the room was filming. I'd rather you not cause a scene, Celeste said through tight lips. And I'd rather not watch a woman build a brand off my work and pretend I never existed. Delaney flinched. Celeste leaned in. This isn't the time or place. Isn't it? I asked. Because the event space, the wine sponsorship, the silent auction software, all of it was secured by my network. Should I keep going? People were starting to notice. Phones out, cameras on, faces turning like sunflowers to confrontation. Then someone, maybe Cameron, laughed. Loud. He's pulling the finance card now. Wow. Celeste followed. Sweetheart, no one here is impressed by spreadsheets and small-time consulting. This is a room of legacy. I paused. Then I smiled. I'm glad you said that, I said. Because legacy comes with paper trails. I pulled out my phone, tapped a folder labeled Ownership and Oversight. Opened a screen. Held it out. There, in high definition, under a spotlight chandelier, was a signed digital agreement. Delara Holdings Equity Distribution. 65% Ash Whitman. 35% Delaney Lemaire. Celeste's face drained of color. Someone nearby gasped. Delaney whispered. You wouldn't. I locked eyes with her. I just did. In less than 5 minutes, the clip hit Twitter. This man just calmly exposed his wife and her family for using him as a silent investor, and it's delicious. A finance influencer reposted it. Then a gossip blogger. Then someone from The Cut quote tweeted, This is why you never marry quiet men. They're always watching. Always planning. Hashtag number Galagate. By morning, it would have over 4 million views. But that night was mine. Celeste sputtered. That document doesn't mean anything without context. Great, I said. Let's give it context. I turned the phone around, played the voice recording. The one I made weeks ago, where Delaney admitted she never told anyone about my contributions because, quote, it's easier if they think I got it all myself. Her voice echoed across the ballroom like a confession in a cathedral. The auctioneer at the front of the room cleared his throat awkwardly. Delaney stood frozen. Celeste reached for the phone. You need to stop this. I stepped back. Number. I'll ruin you, she snapped. I smiled. You already tried. Now it's my turn. They thought I was the quiet one. They forgot I had built empires in silence before. And now the whole world was listening. After the gala imploded in front of 200 guests and a few 100,000 livestream viewers, I expected outrage. But not the kind they gave me. There was no apology, no call from Delaney, not even a damage control email from Celeste. What I got instead was silence. Strategic silence. The kind that screams, we're circling the wagons. Lawyer up. He's gone rogue. They thought I was reckless. They thought I made a scene. But that was just the introduction. The real response. It was already in motion. I spent the next morning at my office. Not my company's office. My personal one. The space I leased quietly 2 years ago when I realized I'd outgrown the image Delaney's family had of me. No plaque. No signage. Just a fingerprint lock, an espresso machine, and 3 locked drawers. Drawer 1. Financial records from Delara, tax forms, capital calls, silent partner clauses. Drawer 2. Boutique insurance contracts, SBA application records I ghostwrote for Delaney, communications between me and the lender. Drawer 3. Trust documents. Not mine, theirs. 3 years ago, Peter Lemaire Delaney's father needed a liquidity bridge to save one of his side ventures. He was 2 months from defaulting on a six-figure loan he co-signed with a tech founder in Miami. I signed a silent lien on his stake, $60,000, in exchange for a non-voting seat and payout rights if the company went public. It didn't go public. It didn't even survive the next fiscal quarter. But the lien's still active. And the best part? The Lemaire family had no idea I still held it. I called my lawyer, Daniel. Sharp, quiet, precise. 10 years ago, I helped him save his family home during an ugly inheritance battle. Now he was one of the best boutique corporate attorneys in the Northeast. He answered on the second ring. You ready? I asked. He didn't even ask what I meant. Always, he said. You want quiet or loud? Quiet first. We only go loud if they strike first. Got it. And with that, we began. The first step was activating my equity rights. I had majority ownership of Delaney's boutique through a cleverly worded convertible loan agreement. It hadn't mattered until now. Daniel filed the paperwork that shifted operational control to me. We didn't close the business. We just paused key contracts. The PR retainer, the influencer collaborations, the seasonal collection pre-order with a Paris showroom. Each was labeled under legal review. Then we sent a single memo to the boutique staff. Effective immediately, Mr. Whitman is overseeing transition operations. Compensation packages will not be affected. Clients may be reassigned. Any media contact is to be cleared through legal counsel. New emotion. Just leverage. By day 3, Delaney texted me for the first time. Ash, what is happening? Why are people calling ME about contracts I didn't even sign? I didn't reply. Instead, I uploaded a screenshot of her signature on our original agreement, right next to mine. She left me on red. By day 4, Celeste tried. You're hurting your own wife's company. This isn't what a man does. I didn't reply, but Daniel did. He attached an audio clip from the gala, Celeste saying, "This isn't the time or place," as I was unveiling proof of silent funding. Then he added, "Your client humiliated ours in a public setting. He will not be returning to silence." But it wasn't about punishment. Not yet. I didn't want them ruined. I just wanted them uncomfortable. Let them sit in the quiet. Let them feel the walls shift. Let them look around and realize that everything they leaned on was something I had built and could unbuild just as fast. The most satisfying moment came on day 5. A board member from the Lemaire Foundation called me. She spoke in that sweet, practiced voice of wealthy women who know bad press is a death sentence. Mr. Whitman, we understand there's been some confusion. Perhaps we could meet, clarify things. I smiled. I'd love to. Let's do it at the venue I secured last year for your gala. Pause. Of course. I didn't need to yell. I had signatures. I had contracts. And now I had momentum. The call came in at 8:03 a.m. Delaney's boutique manager, one of the few people I had always respected, left a voicemail. Ash, just wanted to give you a heads up. Celeste showed up at the store this morning, said she was taking over temporarily. Told staff she's restabilizing the brand. Thought you should know. I did know, because 2 hours earlier I had already sent the cease and desist order to the building management. The boutique lease was still under my LLC. Always had been. Delaney wanted it that way when we first opened. It's cleaner for tax purposes, she said. I agreed, because back then we were a team. Now, it was my chessboard. Celeste showing up unannounced and trying to assert authority was legally trespassing. So I called Daniel. He laughed before I finished the sentence. I'll have the updated enforcement notice delivered by noon. He paused. Should I also send them a press advisory? Yes, I said. Let's go public. At 2:17 p.m., a breaking news tweet hit from a niche fashion finance account. Exclusive boutique label Delara faces internal ownership dispute after reports surface of silent majority stakeholder asserting control. Source confirms founding equity was provided via convertible capital from early investor Ash Whitman. It spread fast. Not wildfire fast, but the kind of slow, steady burn that hurts more because it lingers. Then came the screenshots. From the gala. From the equity document. From the contract clause that clearly stated, in the event of marital dissolution or breach of fiduciary trust, controlling equity reverts to original stakeholder without need for third-party arbitration. Delaney had signed it. Twice. She never thought I'd use it, but she'd breached it the moment she allowed her mother to weaponize the business against me in public. The press came next. I didn't speak to them, but Daniel did. He issued a single measured statement. Mr. Whitman has no interest in destroying what he helped build. He simply refuses to be erased from its narrative. Ownership is not only legal, it's earned. That line stuck. It made the rounds on LinkedIn, then a viral TikTok with a stitched commentary. This man said, "I'm not mad. I'm incorporated." Celeste tried damage control. She gave a shaky interview on a local lifestyle podcast, talking about family privacy and inappropriate behavior and how not all investments are about money. She was trying to frame it as betrayal, that I, the outsider, had exploited their generosity. So I released the receipts. Every wire transfer, every signed agreement, every screenshot of business plans I had ghostwritten under her name. Daniel uploaded them to a secure portal titled The Archive. Then posted one tweet. When someone tries to rewrite the past, show them the folder where you kept the original. By day 3, the boutique staff started walking out. By day 5, 2 suppliers pulled out of fall collection commitments. And by the end of the week, an industry blog reported, Delara operations frozen pending legal mediation between ex-spouses. Founder unable to produce financial origin documentation. That was a polite way of saying she had no proof she built anything on her own. I wasn't gloating. I didn't post memes, didn't subtweet, didn't answer Delaney's 3-word message. Can we talk? I just let it all run its course. I had warned them. They chose spectacle. I delivered substance. Then came the real twist. The one they never saw coming. I had kept one document untouched, one I never planned to use but had prepared years ago just in case. It was a resignation letter from Peter Lemaire Delaney's father from his own investment firm. Dated, signed, undelivered. Why did I have it? Because 3 years ago I saved his firm from collapse. And in exchange for that bridge loan, I had requested one unusual clause. Should the firm default on more than one consecutive quarterly obligation, the silent creditor may exercise pre-authorized executive exit paperwork for leadership transition purposes. They laughed at the time, called it overly formal, academic. But then they missed 2 quarters in a row last year. And I still had the document. Daniel filed it. Discreetly. Quietly. No press. No noise. Just action. By the following Monday, Peter's name was quietly removed from the firm's leadership listing. The industry noticed. Another tweet went viral. First, he took the boutique. Now the father-in-law's firm. This man is Thanos, with NDAs. They wanted a legacy. I gave them a lesson. Never mistake quiet for weak. Never build your empire on someone else's silence. The morning after Peter Lemaire stepped down from his firm, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt calm. No victory dance. No smug breakfast. Just me, a cup of black coffee and sunlight filtering through floor-to-ceiling glass. My new condo overlooked the city like it owed me nothing, and for the first time in years, I didn't owe it anything either. There was a kind of silence only freedom brings. No text threads buzzing, no family drama clogging my phone, no invitations laced with obligation. Just space. And clarity. I'd finalized the divorce 3 days before. Clean, quiet, uncontested. Delaney didn't fight it. In the end, I think she understood it would only expose more than she could bury. She got the house in exchange for signing over full business ownership and forfeiting any future equity claims. I didn't want the house anyway. That place smelled like lavender and long silences. I kept the assets that mattered. My consulting firm, the real estate holdings under my LLC, my equity in 2 hospitality startups. And of course, the full rights to the boutique I helped build, but no longer planned to run. I didn't shut it down. I restructured it. Rebranded, renamed, repositioned. A fresh team. New management. Same backbone mine. The first press release made no mention of Delaney. Not out of spite. Out of truth. Celeste tried to reach me. Again. Blocked. Then unblocked. Then blocked again. Her final message came in the form of a voicemail from an unknown number. Ash, whatever happened between you and Delaney is your business, but you've made this cruel. You've embarrassed us. Is that really what you wanted? I didn't respond. Because that's not what I wanted. Not really. What I wanted was to be seen, heard, respected, not as a husband, not as a provider, as a person. They failed that test repeatedly. And eventually I stopped grading on a curve. 1 week later, I got a call from Marcus Bell, my oldest business partner. Still alive, Whitman. Barely. I saw the headlines. I bet you did. He paused. You know what I loved most? What? That you didn't burn them down. You just stopped holding the roof up. I laughed. Because he was right. All these years, they weren't standing taller than me. They were standing on me. And the second I stepped away, their world tilted. Marcus had a proposition. A new space, Nashville. Rooftop whiskey lounge with cigar program and a private backroom for deal makers. You built 3 for me, he said. Time to build one with your name above the door. He wasn't asking out of pity. He was offering legacy. But on my terms. I didn't say yes right away. I took a week. Saturday on that balcony, watched the city breathe. Woke up without panic. Ate without compromise. And then when the stillness felt familiar, I said yes. I kept a few things from my old life. The gray suitcase. The folder of equity agreements. The original blueprint for Delara, now retitled Kindred. Because I still believed in building things. Just not for people who thought they were doing me a favor by letting me exist in their world. Now, I was building one of my own. 1 month after the rebrand launched, I got an alert on one of my old finance dashboards. Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing Whitmore Holdings. Peter's firm. They had no backup plans, no emergency capital, no Ash to call. And they'd spent too many years pretending I didn't matter to ask me now. The day the filing became public, I took a walk through Central Park. No suit, no meeting, no agenda. Just steps. And somewhere between the lake and the benches, I realized something. I didn't hate them, not even a little. I had outgrown them. People ask me now if I miss her. Delaney. The parties. The brand. The curated marriage. And I say this, I miss the version of me who thought love meant silence. But that man's gone. He grew up. He spoke up. He walked out. The final revenge wasn't power. It wasn't exposure. It was peace. The kind you earn after years of being unseen, when you finally look in the mirror and say, I'm not invisible. I'm inevitable. What would you have done in my place? Would you walk away quietly? Or would you take back your power one document at a time? Let me know in the comments. And if you've got a story like mine, a quiet betrayal, a family who underestimated you, send it in. We're ready to tell it. Subscribe for more stories that prove. Sometimes the best revenge is just leaving the table.